Baguado Focarinos. Thank you for tuning into this video on my review of Assetto Corsa Competizone. As you can see, my ability is set to 80%, which is the lowest, and the aggression is set to 44%. This is just because I have just wanted to do a nice chill run around for people that obviously don't know the game. I guess this is a little bit more suited to them, which there are people out there like that still, but when I was recording this video, and I am going to just turn the volume down a bit because I can't hear myself think. When I recorded this video, obviously put it on 80% difficulty, which is the lowest. You can go to 80 to 100, and I put the aggression on 44 because I didn't really want to be hitting any cars or having any trouble, so that's why we've done what we've done. So you're going to see a multitude of things throughout this video. You're going to see different camera angles, onboard and TV views. You see the KTM to the right, and you'll see just now the ceremonial dip of the tyres. Now I didn't do that, so I don't know whether that may cause me bad luck later in this race, but yeah, I think that's also because this is the latest DLC that they've released, the British GT pack. And I've got to say, playing this, it reminds me of the old PlayStation 2 British touring cars championship days, and you know, the Renault with Plato and whatnot. But anyway, as we go here, as the green lights drop, the first thing I'm going to say is I've always been into motorsport, and I'm going to reference GT Sport a lot, because at the minute I'm only a console player. Getting into it how I am, I'm absolutely going to go for PC, but I'm going to be referencing GT Sport a lot because I think really that's the ultimate competitor for this game. Other games like Project Cars and whatnot, I don't really think it's worth bringing them in the mix. But the first thing I'm going to say is I love racing, and getting into Assetto Corsa specifically, it made me just sort of wonder about these cars and these races, and specifically you see, it's funny because, and I'm sure you guys know them, there's a YouTuber called James Baldwin, who is the world's fastest gamer too, which you can watch on Netflix. But it was just funny because I was watching him and watching his YouTube videos, and then I found out that he was a real racer for last year's British GT Championship. So the same cars are in there. James Baldwin is in this specific game, Assetto Corsa Competizone. There is talk of Assetto Corsa Competizone 2 coming out, which will be interesting, so hopefully they will upgrade some bits and iron out some things that they need to make it more of a enjoyable game for us. But yeah, my point is, I watched a YouTube video of the GT races, and I absolutely loved it. And when you play this game, it is an exact replication of what they do in real life. As they're driving around, and then they have to wait to the drop of the green lights. It's exactly the same. And I think playing this game compared to GT Sport and a lot of other games, you really do feel like you're in the car, in the sense that when you're in Gran Turismo, it's really easy to nudge someone, or it's really easy to, like, the penalty system's all wrong. And what Gran Turismo need to do is take a leaf out of Assetto Corsa's book, in the sense that if you hit a car, you really know about it and feel it. Like, the damage done, even in a knock, it makes you feel uncomfortable. So hitting a car at good speed, like you do in Gran Turismo, it affects nothing, and you may get a little bit of a left turn, which will then disappear after a few seconds. This is permanent, this takes time. I've seen YouTubers such as Tijni, Basic Ollie, do some 24, 48 hour streams, 9-hour races on PC. where they're swapping drivers, which again is why I want to get into the PC side of this, because PC has more options than the console version, such as the spectator mode, and being able to have a team. So there's a driver that you want to drive a 24-hour racing, for instance. You can't do that on console, you can do that on PC. PC you can get up to 4K graphics, I believe, or even if you just go for 1440 and horizontal resolution, then it still vastly outweighs what console can offer. I have a 4K 120 FPS 4K 120 FPS TV, and this game is okay now, but when I first moved over to you've got to take your hat off to Gran Turismo Sport. The graphics are incredible, the frame rate's incredible, everything's just much more obvious, you feel like you're there. When you first start playing Assetto Corsa and you've been playing Gran Turismo, getting used to the graphics it feels a little bit odd to get used to, but that's just because you're so used to the pristine quality of GT Sport. It's not bad, it's not great. I'll probably give it a 7 out of 10. I won't say 6.5, but I'll say 7 out of 10. So yeah, there's so many different aspects about this game that I want to talk about, but actually playing this game and this race specifically for you guys, it was really enjoyable to just drive the car without having to push it to its max limit all the time. You can just sort of feel what it's like coming into the corners at different angles, at different parts of the tracks with different momentums. Like some things, you just the genuine joy of driving. It came across in this game, and you really do feel like you're in a sports car. You feel like if anything goes wrong, if you're gonna spin out, or the back end's gonna come out because you're too much on the throttle, like knowing that you could spin, knowing you could hit a wall, knowing you could hit another driver, it's a real your mind's telling you it can't happen. So that's what's better about this. The fact that you feel more involved and more engaged with the car. So I'm going to talk obviously about a few other things. I'm just going to get my little list up real quick. So yeah, handling was one of the things I was going to talk about. Keep pulling my earpiece out. And before I do that, I'm going to just quickly talk about the lighting. Going from light to night, night to light, if you will. This race in particular is set to a 48 times multiplier, so that's why it's going from light to dark, and you will see it go to light again. Again, it's something that I've not experienced in really other games and or GT Sport, so to be able to experience that in this again with these cars and the immersivity, it's a good, it's a tick in the box, it's a tick in the right direction. But yeah, the handling, the first thing I noticed was the weight transition of the car. It's there in GT Sport, but it's just much more prominent in Assetto Corsa. It just feels a lot more real, especially at those speeds. Chucking the car in as you are, going over the laser scanned tracks with all the bumps and whatever. It's an awesome experience if you're into driving, if you're into racing, especially GT racing. But yeah, it just means you get better readings of the car, and when you actually finally master the car, and they're all different because I've tried them all, you feel so much more rewarded than Gran Turismo could ever make you feel. nailing the corners in Gran Turismo, yeah, it's awesome, but it just doesn't feel as good as this. This feels like everything that you do is going to have an impact. Tiny adjustments in accelerator and brake, and that's because they have real-world effects that translate in this game that Gran Turismo doesn't. So if you're looking to have a more immersive effect, it's not more difficult, it's just something to learn that Gran Turismo, I suppose, you haven't learned from. So it's quite an enjoyable experience, if anything. But you can see there we go a little bit sideways, but we catch it pretty quick. It feels really, really good in this game. It's quite easy to catch the car once you realise what you're doing, but it's also easy to lose it again. It all, you know, depends on the speed, the bumps, the camber, all these sorts of things. Just having a little read of my videos. Keep popping that out. So we'll do a quick little lap guide, lights off and on again, just to get a little idea of, you know, the difference. It's quite weird seeing it from this angle. I guess we're sort of behind the bumper if the lights are there, but anyway. Just giving you guys the option to be able to see the different views. Personally, I like the in-car view. I'm here for realism, to put myself in that car and immerse myself in the experience. So I do agree that you can have better, more control, more field of view on you know, these angles that I'm on now, or even the bonnet cams, for instance. But it's just not what I want. So if you're after that, I think they offer great options for that. If you're after the in-car view, they offer awesome options. They offer three, one without the wheel. So if you've got your rig set up, that's quite close. The second one is back a little bit, and obviously you see the wheel, and you have brake and acceleration movements. And the third one, which is also my favourite, is the helmet cam, and the helmet moves to the direction, obviously, which you need to turn. It's initially quite disorientating, but once you understand what's going on and you kind of focus on the dash really is what gives you the position of the car. And once you get used to it, it's awesome, and it provides a totally new level of immersion, which I love. So I do totally recommend trying that, even for people that sort of maybe feel like it's uncomfortable to get used to or a bit disorientating. It will be to start off with, but it's a little bit like going from GT Sport to ACC. You've just kind of got to get used to that new dynamic. But once you get used to it, it feels so much more immersive. This moment here, you can take that flat, but we are in ability 80%, which again I said was the lowest. So as you're coming to that little left-hander before you're hard on the brakes, you can take that flat, you've just got to keep it left. Obviously this difficulty, they're obviously just coming off the accelerator a little bit, maybe just tap the brakes to stabilise the car. I've gone directly in the back of him, but that was player one, so it's given me a little bit of damage, so I can sort of give you a little bit of feedback on there. Obviously we've got this other view now without the wheel, which I mentioned, which is awesome. There is a little bit of damage on the car. It's just sort of pulling to the left a little bit. Excuse me. And it wasn't really affecting the way I could drive. It was there, but it wasn't too much. If you damage the car in worse ways, it is harder to control the car. But in this case, it was just a little bit and it felt very realistic again. It felt very real, and to be able to control the car after those moments, again, it's quite interesting. And you can see now we've just moved on to the TV cameras, so you're going to get to see some different TV camera views now as we wrap up this race. And a little segue to James there, as he is rocking his way through Donington Park, chasing player 1 down again, position 1. A little bit sideways there, so we came off the throttle, corrected it, clipping the curbs in the McLaren 720S, of course, GT3's best car. And so now we move on to the head cam, which we've just moved off, and we're just going to highlight some sort of spectator modes, if you will. So I'm going to just quickly talk now as we end this video about my ideas and what I'm trying to achieve from this. Obviously, I just want to enjoy it, I want to play. I am involved in some eSports leagues, such as GLR. If you see my videos, you'll have seen the GLR races that I've competed in from Gran Turismo Sport and Assetto Corsa, and I have also commentated for GLR races, Assetto Corsa and Gran Turismo, so you can catch them on my YouTube channel. We'll come up to the penultimate corner there at Donington, hard on the gas, and we're just going to go for a few cameras here. So you can get an idea of what exactly is available for spectator mode, and if you are commentating yourself, which I know a lot of people do now, the options are much better than Gran Turismo Sport. But Gran Turismo Sport, I have recently realised, do offer a keyboard mode. You just plug the USB into your PlayStation, and it offers more options that you don't have on a controller, such as freeze, replay, and then you can replay up to 8 seconds, 12 seconds. It's quite amazing. But you can see there, we've just taken back our position into first place. On board with the Lambo there, and now we've just jumped on board with James, rocking the world's fastest Gamer 2 McLaren 720S. That corner there is one of the strangest corners to take in these cars. You've just got to turn it in and just hammer it flat. I do recommend this game. It may frustrate you for a day or two, but that's just because you're getting used to all the little changes. But once you get used to it, it is so worth it, I promise you. And it looks like we are coming up to the final, which we are, and that means that we're gonna wrap this video up. So I appreciate you watching, and like I say, the GLR eSports races that I'm involved with, there's an awesome community there that you are all welcome to join. You're going to find us on Assetto Corsa Competizone on the servers in GLR and or Guinness. Join the Discord, get involved if you want to get involved with races and get involved with lovely people. I'm also getting involved with the TMKRacing444 Assetto Corsa Competizone server, so please join in. It's open for anyone at the minute looking to find similar minded drivers. And that's gonna bring us to the end of the video. James in first place. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Ciao ciao.